A chance is the only favor needed to succeed in the United States. I've taken plenty of chances in my life. My name is Captain Eddie Rickenbacker, but you can call me Captain Eddie. One of the first chances that I took in my life was in 1898, when I was 8 years old in Columbus, Ohio. The schoolhouse had caught on fire. We were all standing outside. The teacher had called the fire department when I suddenly realized I had left my coat inside. Clothes equal money, and I had $10 in the pocket of my coat. I ran back in, jumped over a wall of flames, grabbed my coat, checked for the money, started to run back again when stopped suddenly. I thought to myself, I needed to take a chance. And I ran all the way home until I felt my mother's arms around me. When I was 12, well, my father died. I worked in a glass factory until I was 16 when I became a mechanic. I was very interested in machines. One day, I wondered how fast cars could go. So I challenged a fellow mechanic of mine to a race, and I won. And I knew that I would become a race car driver, and I loved the wind in my face. I became such a good race car driver, they called me Fast Eddie. In 1917, I was headed to England to buy parts for engines for a racing team. I had learned that the U.S. had entered the Great War. I hurried home and enlisted, and I became a driver for General Pershing's staff. From there, I was transferred to the Army Air Corps. I took flight training in France, and soon was a flying ace. After 8 kills, I had been promoted to captain of the 94th Squadron. That night, on September 24th, 1918, I wrote in my diary, I shall never ask any pilot to go on a mission that I won't go on. I must now work harder than I did before. The very next day, I proved my words. I was leading a patrol before breakfast when I spotted a fleet of 5 German Fokkers and 2 observation planes. I pulled up, then down, firing upon the Fokkers. I saw one of them in flames, spiraling downwards. The observation planes had turned, headed back for German lines. I was circling them, firing at them. I saw the Fokkers banking back, ready to shoot at me. So I took one more chance at the observation planes, flying in between them, shooting at one. Caught fire, and it was a confirmed kill. After the war, I had shot down 22 planes and 4 observation balloons, 26 enemies in total. From there, I bought a failing airline, Eastern Airlines, and 27 years later, was put in a great challenge. On a foggy night in February 1941, I was in a crash, a DC-3 airliner that I owned. Pinned to the body of a dead steward, I had many injuries, such as a fractured skull, soaked in gasoline. My left eyeball had been blown out of its socket, and my pelvis was broken in 2 places. I took command of the plane, shouting things such as, "You, go for help. And you, calm down, it's gonna be okay. Don't light matches, don't you smell the gasoline?" 16 months later, I had recovered fully except for a limp. I was put in yet another challenge. I was the only civilian on a B-17 headed for Island X for World War II base inspection. We had missed Island X, and we were running out of gasoline. We realized we had to make a crash landing. We had floated the life rafts, got everything ready, and 50 feet before hitting the water, I realized there was an open toolbox. I ducked behind a cabinet and said, "Oh well." When we hit the waves, the toolbox had shot tools out like missiles. My friend reached up to try and grab something to hold on to, and a wrench went dead through his hand. Had the pilot misjudged the waves by only just a tiny bit, we would have sunk instantly. We were out on the rafts for quite a few days. It had rained, so we were catching rainwater on handkerchiefs. For the first day, the only liquid source that we had was an eighth of an orange. One day, as I was laying down on my raft, my cap over my face, a seagull happened to land on it. I stopped, wondering what I could do for food. Fastly, I grabbed the seagull, we ate it. Makes a good meal. We used its intestines for fishing, and that started a food chain. We got more and more fish. And finally, on the 22nd day of being out there, 7 of 8 of us had lived as we saw a plane come in, circling above us. We had been found. On Island X, I was inspected in a hospital. I was okay. I continued the base inspection, went home to New York, as I am now. I would like to continue profiting Eastern Airlines and making it efficient. Are there any questions?